Now someone sends us review this video instead. Niklas Nidai, 20 sec.
I believe in race. I'm not ashamed to admit it at all. And that doesn't mean one bit that I'm out to persecute or hurt any man because of his race. He can't help what race he is. We believe that each race has particular geniuses and particular faults. The white race has built white Western civilization, and we think the white race should dominate in that area. National socialism fundamentally is the application of science not only to inanimate objects and animals, but to mankind himself. We believe that the communists, the Marxists, have one fatal error in their doctrine, a place where absolutely there's a hole and there's no explanation for it. They admit evolution. They admit that animals vary by breed and that you can breed better and worse animals. Now, how do they explain how there is a sudden dividing line when you
Holy shit. This guy is red pill as fuck.
come to one particular animal called man? They have no explanation. Time and again, when I've asked them, they have no explanation. They just say if it's got two legs and it stands on its hind feet, then it suddenly becomes a special being and there is absolute equality. They're all the same. Man is an animal just like all the rest of the animals. He's more intelligent, but he must obey nature's laws. And that insofar as he is an animal, he must obey the laws that pertain to animals. We say that when the white race has produced such a wonderful thing as Western civilization, we should treasure the people that have produced that and can maintain it. And we should not mix them all up with other kind of civilizations, whether or not they're good. We should certainly try to preserve it just the way the farmer preserves his better grade of stock. We are also, socially speaking, tribalists. You must live as social beings. You have to live with other people. And this is impossible unless you observe certain fundamental laws of the tribe, the ancient Indian tribe. Any kind of tribe of people, even a work pack, has got to have certain fundamental things. One of these things is leadership. Not leadership by the most popular, but by the strongest and the best. Any tribe or Indian tribe or any group or family should be led by...
Okay, I feel that this is headed towards something I'll disagree with, but up to now, I agree with the intro. So, yes, races exist. This is essentially a review of. I know this guy has been saying these words a long time ago. I don't have the date, but the video itself was published in 2015, and this has likely been spoken a long time ago, given the recording. And this guy essentially reviews what we've been talking about on the internet in the last year. It's amazing. This guy makes a statement of race realism. All right. He then says the white race is good and it has produced good societies and it should be cherished. Well, that's the statement in the alt-right. Now he moves to leadership. I really like his idea. He's saying leadership should not be the most popular person. It should be the best. And this makes me think about all these societies where the leader ended up being the one who was ascending a kind of warrior class. You know, all of these tribal societies and some militaristic societies where the leader had proven its worth by killing a series of people or ascending to this position by demonstrating his force or power in some way. I really like this idea that the leader could be, instead of being chosen by popularity, could be chosen by a test of his ability. Really love this. I know that this is a dead probably toward a much more socialist view of the world that I would want to endorse. But for now, the statements are interesting.
By the best and the strongest. Otherwise, it disintegrates. It's got to have group pride and loyalty. You've got to have selection in the mating process, something that we have almost lost now. We believe that it is of fundamental importance to society that the strongest, cleverest, and the best of the men mate with the best type of women who will make good mothers.
So we've been talking about this a lot also recently. The reality of sexual selection and how important it is. This is things that I've covered when replying to crowd, explaining yes, people select each other and intelligence is being tested during the early stages of sexual selection and courtship.
And when you destroy that machinery, you get what we have now. We believe that you have got to have an organic society. Now, by an organic society, we mean a society, not a dictatorship, but a society in which the parts of the society cooperate together in different functions and in peace and harmony, just the way your body works. Cancer is the wild, uncontrolled growth of cells at the expense of all the rest of the body, and that's what you have in Washington, D.C. right now. Cancer. We believe in private property.
Dude, this guy is so red-pilled. He's red-pilled. It's amazing how what he proposes there, the statements of facts that he do, it's amazing how they apply today.
Property and free enterprise. It is impossible, we believe, to have a society in which there is any real work going on unless people can get the reward of their effort. And at the same time, we believe you've got to have social justice. You cannot have people who are exploiting and squeezing little helpless people economically. And this is where I get in trouble with the conservatives, because most of today's conservatives, I've discovered, are reactionaries.
Oh my God, this guy is totally alt-right.
They're real anxious to hold on to their money. They don't care how they have to figure it out. They just want those money bags. And they come up with any kind of rationale to keep it. Every National Socialist believes in idealism, believes in something that is worth more than his own one single human life. He's willing to die for something.
Now that's where the disagreement emerges. So I think he puts too much value on the believing in something bigger than yourself. I think he should have kept at what he was saying earlier, which is people are participating to the greater processes of society for their own benefit.
When you're ready to die for something, then you're alive. And until you are ready to die for something, you have no real fanaticism. And just at dinner a little while ago with some of the fellows there, they said, were telling me, well, it's terrible to be a fanatic. Well, did you ever stop and think how this country got here? How all the great inventions ever got there?
Dude, this guy is spot on.
Any one of you out there that is not a fanatic on something or other, whatever it is you're studying, if you're going to be a doctor, be a fanatical doctor. Otherwise, you'll be nothing. You'll just be an ordinary old chug-chugging guy, and when you die, nobody will notice it. But if you're a fanatic, you'll produce something great. You'll create. Creativity is fanaticism. Every creative genius has had to be a fanatic. Many of them have been burned at the stake. So we are ideological and idealistic fanatics. Just like the communists, by the way.
Oh God, this guy is strong.
Between the Nazis and the communists is the great mass of non-fanatics, the TV watchers and the comic book readers. I will say this, National Socialism is the inevitable end product, logically, of evolution.
That's his error. I don't think that that's the case. I think he had the wrong solution, but Jesus Christ, he had a solid view of the world. This guy understands even current time, and he's talking about that in the past. Interest in Euro, $5 US. You are an absolute madman. Who's this Commander Rockwell? You guys can't believe that I'm listening to this guy. It's like, calm down, guys. I'm just listening to a YouTuber.
If you believe in evolution, you gotta be a Nazi if you think about it long enough. You can't help it. But what happens?
I disagree with this statement. If you believe in evolution, you've got to be a Nazi. I don't think so. And I think that, unfortunately, the thinking at the time where this was done was not advanced enough to offer alternatives of government systems.
What happens is people short-circuit it. The minute they believe in evolution and scientific breeding until they come to that two-legged animal that stands up on its hind legs. Then all the rules are up. We say that's not possible. You either believe in the scientific method and the truth, and you apply it to yourself without egotism, or else you don't believe in the scientific method and you're kidding yourself. Nazis believe in ruthless application of the truth, not only to inanimate matter and animals, but to you animals. People.
Well, the thing is, I agree with believing in evolution, and I agree in applying evolution to our thinking about mankind. But that doesn't commit you to a moral path to want to improve mankind. In fact, and this is something Commander Rockwell didn't know, because I'm the only one who knows about this, and this is contained in my book that I'm currently writing. But wanting to improve humanity is a dangerous thing genetically. We will end up printing stuff into our genes that will result in our death if we want to improve ourselves too much. So, no, understanding evolution and wanting to understand humans through an evolutionary view should not necessarily lead to a desire to manipulate those rules to make ourselves better. You can also say, I don't want to cause a phenotypic revolution. I don't want to start printing stuff into my children's genes. And so I will appreciate the beauty of evolution as it is now on DNA-based humans, and I will respect the process. I will respect the randomness of the mutations. So again, perfect statement of fact, but wrong solutions.
All of us are the same insofar as we are animals and must survive and live as animals. And unless we breed ourselves better, we're going to get worse. That's what's happening.
The thing is, evolution happens no matter what. Evolution always gets you better. So you can just decide to let it go, and you will become better.
Do worship nature in that I'm humble. When I see the mighty, awesome power of nature, and believe me, I've seen some terrific power of nature, the typhoons off Japan during the war, earthquakes. I've been through some tremendous cataclysms on this earth. And compared to them, the atomic bomb is like a firecracker. Nothing. And when you start to think...
Dude, this guy was a true scientist. Like, he had a true scientific understanding of the world. I would say the same thing as this guy.
Of the enormity of space, our spacemen are just going around at the very bottom levels of space. There's no place yet. There are over 100 million planets where life, just like here, could exist. And in the face of that awesome probability, not possibility, probability, I say it's ridiculous to be egocentric and say we are the center of all things, everything.
Wow. This guy was fucking solid.
turns around us. We Nazis are humble. When I look at nature and realize how ignorant and small and feeble and weak and little we are, Nazism is a philosophy of nature, a way of looking at the world. And as I've pointed out, we believe in tribalism. We don't think we're above that. We think that you've got to have pride in your family, pride in your race, pride in your nation. That's not something to laugh at. Patriotism and pride in family and pride in race is something we should be proud of and cultivate, work on, not get rid of. Finally, we believe in morals. We believe in the traditions of goodness, virtue. Now I told you something about what we are, but I'll do as good as I can in telling you what I think our enemies are. And our enemies, make no mistake about it, are the Marxists. The philosophy of Marxism, I believe, is the enemy of all humanity. It's the reverse of humanity. We say communism itself is the most vicious, antisocial doctrine the world has ever known, and here's why. They completely deny the very basis on which any human order can exist at all. Without humans, or at least without civilized humans, you certainly can't have human order. And the communists say they don't believe in race. They believe in absolute equality. The pygmies, the aborigines of Australia, everybody, let them all come to Carlton, and they'll all write arias and books, and the cannibals will be producing the music and verses. That's all you have to do is educate them. And this simply is not true. This results in chaos, social chaos, which is what we have now. They don't believe in enterprise. They don't believe that people should work for themselves. They believe that the state should come and tell them what to do. They don't believe in private property. They don't believe that you can keep the fruits of your production. They don't have, above all, they have no spiritual ideal. We say the only thing that's worth protecting with your life is ideals and your family, your race, and your nation. And twice in my lifetime, I've been called upon to go out and risk getting killed. And I saw a lot of other young men doing this. Young fanatics that they made out of it, by the way. They made us real fanatic haters of the Germans and fanatic haters of the Japanese. Nobody protested that that was bad to be a fanatic when we were fighting those Japs. And I assure you, we all were. Finally, the communists, if you remember when they first got into power in Russia, they are against morals. They had free love, no morals at all. Everything was have a ball. And the result was they almost tore Russia to pieces. They just fell apart. Now, if you'll notice, they are almost puritanical in Russia. In order to make the thing work, they've had to go back to the very principles of tribalism which we're advocating. You can't work society with a communist pipe dream. Civilization is based on self-sacrifice, on the willingness of men to go out and die for what they believe in. When you get rid of that self-sacrifice, you get anarchy. Civilization is built because I am willing to give up something for my family. And the family is willing to give up something in order to have the town succeed. And the town is willing to give up something so the state can be in business. And the state is willing to give up something so the nation can succeed. Self-sacrifice is the first principle of civilization. Communism has got the fanaticism to destroy you, and it's doing it. And unless you can build up a counter-fanaticism for something you believe in positively, you will be destroyed. You are being destroyed.
Recently, there was a report out that among new babies that were born, this happened last year, minorities were now the majority. That whites were officially the minority.
And they're boasting about it. Khrushchev just said, America's so liberal, they'll never fight. And I think there's a lot of truth to that, but we're going to change that. It won't be quite so liberal. After we've had a chance to make America understand what it is and make it conscious of itself and its greatness and its people, and the white race understand that they're worthy of protecting themselves, that they don't have to keep humbling and downgrading themselves while other races are standing up and saying, look at us, how great we are. We keep saying we're ashamed of ourselves for being white. That's a terrible thing. The thing for each race to do is be proud of itself. And the white people and the good people of this country, when they finally realize that they can do that without hurting or being obnoxious to anybody else, they will finally become fanatics to survive, to keep this great country going.
Absolutely interesting. There is nothing new in the things that we discuss, in the things that we cover, in the debates that we have. It all existed before. We just live in an extension of the degenerate world that Commander Rockwell was describing. We were just like little ants in the ideologies that he's projected into his present and into his future. I disagree with some of the solutions that this man proposed, and I think we can offer today a much more modern version of what he's proposing. A modern version that is based around liberty, that does not compel self sacrifice, but the view that he expresses there, I could have stated 95% of this today. And if I had been born in his years, I could have stated everything that he stated. I think that National Socialism is a little too socialist for me. But I think that today we have a better understanding of economic solutions, of how liberty needs to be preserved in society. Uh, but the ideology of self sacrifice that this guy talks about is something that I advocate for in my, it's something that I live by. I've always been that way. It's not something that I believe the public discourse should require from people, because when you start requiring self-sacrifice, you're going a little bit in the direction of communism. So I say public discourse shouldn't be that much headed towards sacrifice, because ultimately those who don't want to sacrifice end up having their liberties be impeded upon. However, as far as his statements, I think it's impressive that it comes from another century, because this could have been a YouTube video uploaded today, and there's not a single word that would be different, that would have to be different. All right, we have a couple super chat. Let's pound some super chat. We have 1451 Tyler, $2 Canadian. Monarchy is the cure. National Socialism is how we get there. Interesting Euro, $5 US. What the fuck? I'm a National Socialist now. This is so fucked. Yeah, I mean, but what he expresses there is not the description of a form of government of National Socialism. I think that what he describes there is part of the motivation that can push you toward national identitarianism. But I would certainly dissociate that from socialism and say it doesn't have to be socialism. Uberries, $2 US. Hey Jeff, what's up? Oh shit, we not suck. We're national socialists now.